why people reject the truth. Number one, people reject the truth because it is contrary to what an authority figure has taught them. People would normally listen to what the authority figure in their life has told them. So it doesn't matter if the thing that the authority figure told them is a lie, but as long as they respect that person, they don't want to go against that person. They are no more interested. They don't even care for the truth anymore, as long as it is against or contrary to what they've been taught by somebody they respect or they love. So, but that is why we say we shouldn't be like that. We should be different. We should rather be more interested in researching for truth. We should rather be interested in finding out the truth, rather than just believing the truth because it is coming from someone that we so much respect. So then that was the first one. Then I did another one on the top, on the second part of that. I called it authority is good. That is good to follow authority. But if the authority is not speaking the truth, or whatever this person is telling you or teaching you is not in conjunction with truth, it's better to go for the truth. So I call that message, authority is good, but credibility is better. So credibility is what is based on truth. That should always be chosen above authority figure or what authority figures say. So, yeah, so credibility, authority is good, but credibility is better. So that is another one that we did on this series. Then I did, then the other one I did is called why, another reason why people reject the truth, why people don't believe the truth. They don't believe the truth because it's contrary to their belief system. So if the belief system, like yes, just today, I was not here this evening, but I'm going to use it because it's a good example. I don't know if some of you were there or not, but for those of you who are there, this is illustrative example right here. Some of the thing is, if the truth is contrary to the belief system of people, even though their belief system is not the truth, they will reject the truth, and we will lose them not because we are not speaking the truth, but because their belief system does not allow them. So, for example, a lot of churches have spent ages preaching on how women should dress. What was their problem? Is that, in fact, I did a video where I said, it's not my business, and it's not even the business of a husband to be telling the wife what to wear or the length of the dress. The way the people came against me like crazy. I said, but what is my wife is a grown up, and I respect her. Why should even if anybody has any right to say anything, maybe the husband, but even the husband doesn't have the right. I mean, respect her for Christ's sake. But if I'm a pastor, the more so, I don't have the right to put my nose in the life of any other woman and be telling them what to wear or not to wear. That is not my business. I must preach the gospel. The truth may offend somebody. So one thing is contrary to their belief system, they reject the truth. Another reason why they reject the truth is because they feel the truth offends them. The truth offends them. So that's another reason. In this case, it is not what we are saying that offends people, but it is the carrier of what we are saying. That's the next point. Another reason why people will reject the truth is because they don't like the source of the truth. So if they don't like the way the source of the truth is dressed, they will reject it. So that's another point. That's the second point right there, confirming the fact that we who are carriers of truth must also be watchful. We must also watch out, because if we present ourselves and people don't like us as the source, they will reject the truth we are carrying. And then if the truth is contrary to their belief system, they will most likely reject it. Okay. Then I did that twice. The source of, if they don't like the source of your truth. That was two program I did on that one. Then the other one is why people reject the truth. They reject the truth because they have alternative explanation. But today, the final reason why people reject the truth is because they fear the truth. Could it be possible that people will fear the truth? Could it be possible that people will reject the truth because they fear it? Definitely yes, because, for example, I even know people who have talked to me. I mean, people have called me and say, "Oh, we listened to one or two of your messages." I said, "Okay." So then they said, "Let's talk. We'd like to seek advice from you." So this particular person was saying, "Okay, after listening, I see that everything we are doing in our church is just against the Bible and against what you are teaching and against God's standard. So, but I'm ready to even begin to talk about it, but I can't." I said, "Why?" Because you said it's the truth what I'm saying, and and what you are practicing in your church is against it. He said, "Yeah, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if I begin to talk about it right now, I will lose my job. I will lose my salary because I'm working under the church and the church is supporting me. So I just can't. Because I have to think about my children, I have to think about my wife, I have to think about my home. I'm even from another state. I will not even be able to pay for my rent. So now, if that is me, I would have just taken the decision and allowed God to fight for me, or allow God to defend me, and I will just do what I need to do and have faith in God. But everybody, the whole world is not me, right? But over the years, as a pastor, I have learned to be more patient with people. Even though that's the way I would have acted by faith and just risk it and let anything that will happen. I will allow the truth to defend me. But so there are people who are not there yet. There are people who don't have that level of faith yet. There are people who see what is wrong. They are still growing. Their own faith and their own level of confidence to stand for what is right, they are just not there yet. I don't know how to say that. I think you people understand what I'm saying. They understand that it's wrong, but for him to now begin to resign or go against the authority and know that there is no place to take his family, for a lot of people, that's a tough call. For a lot of people, for him to know that he might be outside the street tomorrow and he doesn't know where the money is coming from, it's just something too much. So that kind of person, because what I will tell them normally is that, you know what, take your time. Right now, since your faith is, because the Bible says that anything that you do without faith, it is also a sin. So why should you go, even though you know the truth now, and you don't believe that God will provide or the truth will fight for you, because you just don't know where your next bread will be coming from. So why should you go and do something when you are still afraid and you are doubting? Like, for example, the three sons of you want to call them, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When they were about to be thrown into that fire, they had faith for it. They were saying, "O king, we are ready to go into the fire. Even if we are going to perish, let us perish." You see that kind of, their faith was ready. They had faith in the fact that God is going to rescue them. But if you don't have that faith, and you are saying, even rescue will not come. Even God's rescue will not come, because God acts by faith. So there are people, let's just face it. There are a lot of people who are rejecting the truth or who will not accept the truth. Even there are some people who accept the truth, but still will not receive it, even though they accept in their head, but they do not receive it or practice it because they are afraid of the consequences. So this guy actually had a lot of ideas that he was ready to bring to the table. But I just told him, you know what? Let it be until you have the faith for it, until you have the confidence, until the time comes. You keep on listening to the message of Pastor Sunday, especially the plague of silence. Keep on listening. And the more you hear, the Bible says that faith cometh by hearing. So you keep on hearing. The more you hear, the more you have faith. And the more you'll be more confident that even if they throw me to the street today, even if I lose everything today, I just know that I can make it. I just know that nothing will happen. I just believe it, that this truth will see me through. It will see me through. So when your faith and your confidence in the truth gets to that level, definitely then you'll be able to act. But when you are not sure now what will happen, and when you are so panicking and you say you don't know what to tell your wife and what to tell your children, take it easy. There is time for everything. Take it easy. There is time for... So there is time for everything. So take it easy and keep on growing until you get to that place where you know, and your heart will witness to you. And you know, sometimes also, God could use fear to hold you back from doing some actions. For example, right now, me, I don't even have fear again. I've even lost the ability to have fear. So if God would have allowed me to travel from, if not because of this case I'm having in Ukraine now, I would have gone to Nigeria. And I'm sure that God knows that maybe it's not quite time yet. You know, there are some things that is not, even though you know it is right, but it's not yet time to do them. So you need to wait for that confirmation from your heart. You need to wait for that affirmation, that peace, when you know it is time to act. Like, for example, I know women who are even on this platform, that their husband has been mistreating them so badly. Normally, what I would have said is that, what are you doing there? Come on, pack your stuff and leave. But yes, I could say that, and I say that normally to people. But I always tell them, don't do it because Pastor Sunday I just said you should do it. Make sure that you have peace about it. Because some of them begin to tell me, oh, we want our children to have father. Well, we're afraid that we don't want them to grow up in a situation where they don't have a father. We want them to have... So once you are still having that fear that, you know, father or no father, okay, keep on growing. Don't worry. Go and listen to the messages, and, you know, the time will come for you. So when you know that, no, I can't bear this anymore, and you also have the faith that God will see you through, then you'll be able to leave. In other cases, people say, okay, if I leave, I don't even have any source of income. He's paying for the rent, or he's paying for the children's school, or he's supporting me. You know, I don't know where to go. And there's a lot of countries where they don't have the support system. So what do you tell that kind of person? To just go and risk it? Of course not. Even though it is the truth you are saying, but that truth has to mature in the heart of somebody. You know, it's like when I was small, I was in my village in the Domina, and I used to go with my grandmother to the farm. And my grandmother used to sow plant stuff. Especially, she used to plant, you know, different things. Guava, yam, cocoyam, they used to call it, and cassava, and all things like this. And it used to grow between each time, by the time we come back the next week or 2 weeks, each time we go back the next time, it's already growing. So I'm always saying, this thing is interesting though. We just put stick like this, just this tuber on the ground, and I'm seeing leaves now come out. And the same thing with corn, what they call maize, what they call corn. The same thing with corn. So one day I just said, oh, this thing is not difficult now. I didn't know there are rules. I saw the truth work, because each time my grandmother put that thing there, and I used to be with her, put the corn in the soil, and after some time she comes back, the corn is already becoming tree. So I said, okay, me, I'm also a grown-up farmer now. So I didn't go to the big farm where we used to go. I just went to behind our house. I said, why to go farm? Now I'll just do my own here, and then go to school and brag to my schoolmates that I also planted a maize, and the thing grew. So I wanted to, you know, do that. So I went and put it there. But that second day, at 5 o'clock in the morning, normally before, even at 7, I don't wake up. But this time, because I planted it the evening before, so this time I woke up 5 o'clock in the morning to go and check the thing. Good. I removed the dust of the earth, the dirt. I removed it, and I saw the thing is still lying there. Nothing is growing at all. So I covered it back and went to school. After school, All my friends didn't know why I was rushing home. I was rushing home to check on my mates, Joe. I went and dug it out. By the time I did that thing for 2 weeks and 3 weeks, the thing was dead. Nothing happened. That is what happens with truth. Sometimes you need to allow the truth to just ripe. Big time farmer. I killed the thing. The thing never grew. That thing came out. I thought it was a miracle my mother was doing. I didn't know there are some rules and laws behind it. So the same thing with the truth. So sometimes you allow the truth to mature. The same thing with these people who are coming to say, dress normally, we shouldn't shut them down and say, okay, it's your problem. Let the truth mature in them first. Let the truth take over them before, so if they are getting confused about the way you dress, and why don't you dress properly? So that they, you give them the opportunity to keep on hearing the truth. And if you keep on dressing the way they don't like, you chase them away. It's just like me going there to uproot my corn. So, but if you give them the chance, because if you keep on dressing like that, you chase them away. They will not even be able to hear the truth on the air. But if we dress this the normal way, then they will be able to listen to the truth, and the truth delivers them. So the same thing here with all people who might not be able to accept the truth, and we wonder sometimes why people don't accept our truth. Is because the truth needs time to take hold of them and to germinate, or because people are just afraid. Now I'm going to invite Mrs. Fisayo to come, if you don't mind. Huh? Okay, Mrs. Fisayo, question. Have you been sharing my post, my messages, my live broadcast?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so how many friends do you have on your friend list?
Almost 4,000.
4,000?
Oh, yes.
But I've not seen 4,000 follow you come to. Just seen 4,000 follow you come and watch me here. Right. So what is happening? Are they not seeing it?
They are seeing it.
So will you now agree with me that a lot of people who are saying and watching your live broadcast, who are seeing your timeline, right, and are seeing my messaging, and are even seeing your encouragement or your share or things like that, even people not even the 4,000 who are living somewhere elsewhere, but even the ones who are living in the same house with you, or in the same school with you, or people will you agree though that some of them are kept away from coming to wash because of fear?
Yes, I am.
Can you explain some of the some fears that might be holding people down, or why people are not watching, even in Ukraine here? And so is that factor a solid one, that fear really keeps people away? Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Spisayo, as Pastor have said, truly fear really keeps people away from coming to listen to the truth, and the next step is to accept the truth.
Even though the truth is the truth.
Is the truth.
But still they will not come.
They will not come.
To listen. Even.
To listen. And if they listen, they will keep it to themselves and not share it. So there are different levels. Some will still have the conscience to actually stop and listen. After listening, they will be convicted and keep it to themselves. And some, after listening, they will share it with someone else. Their friends, their neighbor, even their fellow Christian brothers.
Why don't you start with those people who will not even come to listen? Because you said you have 4,000.
Oh, yes.
So what would you say? Where is the fear factor playing?
Who would not come at all to listen? Okay. First is people like to hold on to what they already know. They are afraid of losing what they already have. Okay. So then, for example, they're already in a church that have the doctrine, and they've been taught for several years of how it is to be a Christian and how to serve God. So they believed this as the ultimate truth.
So they are even afraid of listening
to another one,
to a contrary opinion.
Yes. And some, not that they are afraid, but they've been told that anything outside their church is not complete. So that they've been deceived that here is what the best you can get. So don't bother listening to any other person. And they will even, some would want, some people specifically, don't listen to Dr. Sunday Adelaja.
Why?
Why? Because those people wanting them, especially their leaders or pastors, don't want them to be exposed to truth or information that will question what they've been feeding them for years. Because normally, when you listen to something that is contrary from what they've been giving you for years, you will come back and say, I heard this, explain. Perhaps the pastor cannot even face the truth you're giving out. So would not want church members to listen to that truth. So he will not come back and ask the pastor a question. But pastor, I listened to so and so. What can you say? So it's better to prevent them beforehand, not to listen at all. So they won't even come back with questions, or to, as usual in churches in Nigeria, you are not even allowed to question. You dare not. So why should you listen and come back with questions? So they will rather prevent and tell different strategy. You'll be best fed here. Don't listen to another person. If you go and listen to another person, they will not allow you to receive the truth we are giving you here. They will dilute the truth. I mean,
are there people that you have personally invited that would not even consider hearing the truth or receiving the truth because of some of those phrases?
Yes.
Can you tell us some
a few of my
instances?
Colleagues, okay, for example, maybe a few of my colleagues, while I graduated a few months back, and a few of my colleagues I've invited, but some will come once. But that truth is heavy and is challenging everything they've heard all their life, especially about God, Christianity, and even life and church. So they will just run and not come back because they feel unsafe, because whenever they want to go out back to their church to share that truth, they will receive they will be isolated. In how they will make them feel like you are now becoming disloyal to what we're teaching you here. So to portray that they are the loyal Christian and followers of their pastor, they would not even tell. They will just shut up and not go back again. But some still have the free heart to actually go and keep listening and listening. And with time, they will say, I can't take it any longer. They will just shut down and not go back. And not even come to listen to what I'm sharing or to read or anything again. Some is one, some is over and over, but they get depressed and will not come back. But some is just one. Some will not even come at all, because before I even invite them, they've been told in their church, don't listen to anyone who would give you so and so person's book. And some will be specific. Pastor Sunday's book, Pastor Sunday's message. If you see it on Facebook, just scroll back. Don't get his book and all of those nonsense. So I've had a couple of such experience, and so it
means that it is the leaders you are okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was why I came. If you remember, like a few months ago, I asked you this question: that, Pastor, what if I have this situation at hand? And you told me that people operate at different level of faith. That I should I should not impose my truth on anyone. I should let their faith mature enough to hold on to that truth and be convicted by it personally, so that they can stand on their own with that truth. So that was when I learned, okay, I dare not impose it on anyone, but I will share with with the love you can encourage. But it's still the person's choice to either listen or come back to listen again and keep following. So, like you said, we don't impose our truth on people.
So the way you are saying it, it's like even the fear is coming from the leaders more.
Yeah, because it's so sad that today most churches, how people are suppressed is true fear. Fear that you will be isolated, fear that they would place curse on you, fear that God will no longer hear your prayer, that you will not prosper because you were disobeying the leader, fear of being different, fear of being left alone, and people, your fellow brothers and sisters, and just turning against you and telling you are now going against what they are teaching you in our church. So people don't just want to be left alone. People don't want to be isolated. People want to be in group and be accepted. So it takes boldness and a strong conviction to say, even if it's myself alone left with the truth, I will still stand. But most Christians have not reached that level. So the spirit, it's the spirit of fear that is being used in churches to suppress people. And that's how people.
So the spirit of fear, is the spirit of fear just being used against the people, or the pastors really themselves are experiencing fear?
Okay, it's both ways. The pastors are experiencing fear. The pastors are experiencing.
What fear can pastors have experienced? But they have their church and their members.
Yes, they have it, but they might lose it because what is being built on is not the complete truth. So when it's now exposed and everyone knows how it should be,
okay.
All the church members now know. So they will ask, but pastor, all these years, this is what you've been telling us. So it has not been so.
Okay.
So it will now be like everything they've built over the years will just, crumble and scatter. So, and the fear of losing that, I think, overrides the ability, the courage to stand and say, now I know better. I will change. Even if I lose everyone, I'm willing to start all over again.
So that means it is the fear of losing members, or what, or losing the church, or what members?
Losing members, losing over the years they've built name also, name and credibility, the reference people give, maybe property, wealth, name, prestige, and
so that means they are afraid of losing their gains.
Yes, that they seem to have accumulated and built over the years.
You say there are two ways, that the pastor is both ways. Okay,
pastors are being affected in this way. And so to prevent what they are afraid of from happening to them, they pass on the fear to the members. How? They make the members feel threatened that they will not get what they actually came to church for if they leave the church.
They will not receive their miracles.
Yes, and most people are in church, especially in Africa, for miracles. So if you go against the man of God that will pray down the miracle for you, you won't get that miracle. So why come to church in the first place? So everybody's, I'm coming to church for this miracle. So I can get it, I better remain loyal and not branch. Yes.
You're opening my eyes, so. Okay, we'll continue.
So when they understand this, that is to get their miracles, they would remain. Whatever the man of God tells them is what they would do. And the man of God is targeting the end result of most people not getting to know the complete truth.
But Mrs. Fisher, what you are saying though, that means that the standard of behavior and the standard for decision making for people is not truth then. It's more gain. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, it's selfish and egocentric. Yes.
And you are not even afraid of saying it?
Because it's the truth. We all know it. That's why anywhere people are promised miracles, crowds will flood there. It's very obvious. It's been selfish and egocentric. So if you want everyone in Nigeria, no one serves God. No, let me say no. I retrieve my statement. Most people serve God not because they love God. Most people will not say what you said at the beginning of this. Even if God, like the Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego will say, even God will not save us, we will still not deny him. So if God will not give me that miracle, that prosperity,
because they are acting by the truth. And the truth is that we will not bow down to another God.
No.
That is the truth.
It's conditional in African setting.
It's relative.
It's relative. Yeah, maybe relative.
No, but what you are saying is that most people actually will take the decision to remain in that church.
Yes.
Even though they know that what you are sharing is the truth.
Yes. Because why they are in the first place is what.
But how can you know that the truth is somewhere else?
But that's somewhere.
And you go the opposite direction.
Because that's somewhere else, they've not seen the instant gratification. No proof yet to hold on to. So they rather hold on to what they think as a proof that.
So it is just at the end of the day, gain.
Gain. What I can hold on to, yes. Yes.
Come on, what do you want to say after that?
Well, I just feel like It sounds somewhat familiar. I think it's not only in an African setting that these truths apply, but in the post-Soviet setting too. And okay, I wasn't here while the Soviet Union was here and while it was falling apart, but I just hear some people say things, and it sounds kind of similar to this. People, they just want to hold on to something. So at some point, some things get so inculcated in their nature, the truth doesn't matter. You just need to keep doing things according to what's normal, or else you're just weird. You're a lunatic. I mean, how else can life function? After like 70 years of communism, for example, you have the iron fist. You have stay silent or else you'll get killed. And then suddenly the nation started being like open a bit after Gorbachev, and then things started falling apart. So there were more truths available, but still lots of people would run away from the truth because they were like, no, what about what I'm used to? What about my comfort zone? So people at some point, they don't care about the truth. If they can keep living in their own biomass lifestyle and just keep doing something every day, and they don't really need to do anything, they just need to go. I mean, they don't need to use their head. They just need to keep going the way that it's been already passed that. No, they just keep like a hamster in a hamster wheel, just keep going in circles and circles, not achieving anything, but they're doing something, so they feel as if they're going somewhere. And but it's scary to try something else. I mean, you've been taught this your whole life, that's just a standard, and then suddenly somebody is saying that, well, no, actually you could do it like this. And I think logic would tell them that, yes, actually I'm getting nowhere. I'm just running in circles. But then again, there's like, but I've always been running in circles. Why should I stop now? And that's it. So people just keep going. And I think that's...
But what we've been teaching this week, Pearl, is that the truth should be the only basis for decision making.
No, but humans like to act like creatures, like sheep. If the majority of the sheep are going that way, then I'm going to go that way too. Maybe there's a hole there. Maybe where every sheep that goes there is falling into that hole. But hey, everybody's going there. I should go there too. That's it. And then the truth doesn't matter. It's just like they said.
But the truth is the only thing that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, but people don't think about the end of the day. They think about what they feel right now. Yeah. They think about what they've been doing. They're comfortable doing the same things. Yeah. People don't have those values. They don't look ahead. They just, like I said, animals, instincts. A sheep won't be thinking ahead of its future. It won't be thinking, oh, if I eat all the grass here now, then there won't be enough for everybody else. No, it will be, it doesn't care. It doesn't think, hey, all of the sheep that are going there, they're not coming back. Maybe I should go the other way. No, it will be like, it does not think. It just keeps going. And that's what, but in situations like churches, in systems like the Soviet Union, that's what they need. Like you said, you taught us that the media right now is wearing up biomasses. But in any atmosphere where humans are taught to fear the truth,
in any society,
in any society where humans. When people want to take advantage of humans, because if you're not going to let humans know the truth, then that means
you can manipulate them.
Yeah, that means you don't want them to experience their full rights as humans, because every human has the right to the truth, because the truth should be the only basis for action. Yeah. But in the Soviet Union, of course, if they knew the whole truth, then the Soviet Union would not work. And in the case of those churches, if they knew the whole truth, well, just look at the New Testament. The New Testament is all letters correcting the church. How do humans react to corrections? They get angry. They don't want to change. Yeah, change, it takes work. It takes effort. Nobody wants to do that. If the whole truth was known, then the church would always be improving itself, because we as humans, we have, we get attached to bad ideas. We have sin inside of us, and we make mistakes. So if we were always striving to make our truth our only basis, we'd always be evolving, we'd always be changing, we'd always be thinking. But But by human nature, we don't want to do that. So that's why the church is just stagnant right now. They don't want to keep changing. They don't want to keep thinking. They just want everything to stay the same so that they can stay in their comfort zone, so that they can stay in their prison. Like you said, the church can become a civilized prison. But usually people would want to run away from prison, right? But here it's just, this is the way it's been, this is the way it's always been, and they don't let people know that they could run away from the prison. They don't let people know that it shouldn't be a prison. They just pressure people, whether it's seriously oppressing them or it's just underlyingly telling them messages, making them feel like if they said something wrong in church, then, you know, kind of speaking in a more condescending tone to them. Just those things, you know, how they can really affect the person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people, they aren't thinking about future. Even, I mean, it's Jesus said it would happen in the Bible, but even Christians, even men of God, they aren't thinking of the things of the kingdom. They don't have their affection set on the kingdom. Again, just like every human being, you get stuck on physical things, you get stuck on the deceptions of the world, except that these people, they aren't getting the stones out of their hearts. The heart is completely clogged up with thorns, and they're just being hypocrites and playing a game, because as long as they feel physical pleasure, they think that they're the ones benefiting.
Amazing. Thank you so much. But let me ask you this. The point I'm making this time is that people fear the truth. Why should people fear the truth itself?
Well, because the truth demands the truth comes with several demands, and humans, like, we need to submit to the truth.
Yes.
And
we need to make the truth our superior.
Yes. But
we need to bow before the truth.
Yeah. And then that's the hardest thing. Humans, they all bow before something, but they don't, like, acknowledge it. Or if they think, and even in churches, people say, bow before me. But humans don't bow before them just because humans feel so good bowing before the pastor. They bow before him because they've been manipulated somehow, or because they're waiting for a miracle. And it's the same thing with the
because
truth.
They have a gain.
Yes.
By the way, if you are watching this program and you are yet to share the link, please, let's go and share the message. Let's go and share the link. Look for the share button. It's under your video. There must be a button somewhere there to share. Please feel free to go and share the message. Please go and share it and spread the word. Yes, please.
And we need to bow to the truth because it is the truth, because it's the only right way.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way you can actually bring fruit, and it's the only way that you can actually become the person that you need to. But we need to work on ourselves to do that. And of course, every success, it comes through pain. And even submitting to truth, making the truth your main priority, but we have our own human instincts and fleshly instincts, that's hard. So first of all, people are scared of that. And then again, there's the manipulation and status quo and biomass culture that's keeping people from that too. Not only, so even if a person feels in his heart that he should follow the truth, then the biomass culture will just tell him, why would you go through that pain when you could just stay with everybody else? You're going to follow the truth. You're going to follow the invisible. Well, there's no immediate results. Well, then immediately, right now, while you're trying to follow the truth, we'll deprive you of certain immediate pleasures. We'll take away, like, your friends, and we'll take people out of your life, and we'll make you suffer for a little while, just like it says in the Bible that after we suffer a little while, then Christ will redeem us, and eventually it will come to good. But, you know, while we're suffering that little while, people are scared. People are scared to death of suffering, and people are scared to death of pain, and that's one of the biggest reasons that people are unsuccessful in the world today. They're scared to take that risk. They're scared to go through the pain. They're always looking for the easiest way. And in this case, the easiest way is to ignore the truth and to do what everybody else is doing. Then you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think. You just have to run in circles.
What will you say to that? Why should they fear, though, the truth itself?
Well, like Per said,
because, I mean, from your own experience and from all those people you've been interacting with.
Okay. Like I said initially, the end result, they won't get what they want. They feel the truth will not give them because, one, no one is in front of them physically. using that truth to get something. What they see physically, and most people tend towards what they can perceive through the five senses. They can hear it, they can see it, they can feel it. So it's not about end result that you can see with faith, because anyone that will accept truth must have faith. So the faith
in the invisible.
In the invisible. Yes. So most people, most Christians are not having faith in the invisible. They're only satisfied with what the five senses can give. So they think right now the five senses is given what this person is teaching me. So I go with that. So even if the truth, even though that is not truth, but when the truth comes and you are supposed to have faith in that truth to get things from the invisible, they won't do that. It's too challenging, and it seems unreal. To them it's like a risk that cannot be secured. So they will go with what they see physically. That is what is secure to them. And it's about the end result, the miracle result, what they want to get. And also, standing with the truth is it's hard work. It's hard work. There's no short corners. And most people are not ready for that hard work. And
okay. Yeah, and
that is why we keep waiting on God to do the work part.
Okay. Yes. You wanted something?
No.
Okay. In my note here, one of the thoughts that I wanted to pass across is this. Sometimes people don't have the patience. People will not have the patience to examine the evidence of the truth, because they are afraid that in case that becomes the truth, then they are thinking, what would the consequences be in case I examine it or I listen to it and then the thing happens to be the truth? What are the I'm afraid of the consequences to me, just like the guy who told me I will lose my job. The church will not pay for my house or for my children or all that. Consequences. Why should people fear consequences of truth? Because, like, for example, coming to listen to Pastor Sunday and even hearing all these things. Why are people scared of listening to the truth? What consequences can truth bring? How can truth hurt them?
Like you said, Pastor Sunday, before, that whatever truth you have, somebody will always be disputing it. So, first of all, there's the risk of social alienation and all of that.
Social alienation.
Yeah. But that's really just kind of scratching the surface, because, like you said,
that's public opinion.
Yeah, that's public opinion.
When you are in the local church, social alienation is so real.
Yeah.
Because you are in that church and you've been in that church for like a number of years, and all your friends are there, and the people you respect and the people your children play with. So social alienation, that fear could be understandable, no?
Yes, and yeah, I even listened to some. I listened to the story of Martin Luther King from a more psychological, not Martin Luther King, Martin Luther from a more psychological perspective, and you saw that in the period before he actually decided to come out with his
thesis.
With his theses and with his problems with the corruption in the Catholic Church, he was showing very many signs of fear and anxiety. Like once they were having a performance, it was during the choir, and he suddenly started like screaming during the performance, like, I'm not, and like, what is going on with him? He was so scared. After he had gone through his experience during the thunderstorm, he had become a monk, had been so faithful, he'd been doing everything Catholic, he'd been doing everything righteous, he'd been the most perfect little monk, and then he realizes that that's not the truth. That everything he's been taught all this time, he has to come and break it down. Like, think about it, like when Jesus was saying that the temple that the disciples were showing him, not a stone will be left upon a stone. Like, how scary is that? Such a massive building, such a tantamount building, such a paramount building, and it's just all torn down. And that's how it feels to people when what they've known their whole life, it's what has even become a part of them, you have to like break it now. That is terrifying to an extent.
there. And also leaving the certainty for uncertainty. To them, the new information, even though it's the truth, is uncertain. And the fear of survival kicks in. Survivor is just is an instinct in every self-preservation. Like this same example you gave. What of me? How would I feed my family, my wife, my children? And it's not certain. So the fear to preserve me, my family, and to survive kicks in. So even though I have to compromise, but to still be surviving, I have to do that. And that the three Hebrews, they defiled the instinct, the stimulus for survival. And that's as if we perish, because the end thing is to perish. That's the end of survival.
The worst.
Yes, that's the worst. To end surviving. So even if we perish, we perish. But how many can say that again? Even if I perish standing with the truth.
Okay, for example, there was a time I did, is your church a cult?
Right.
Mrs. Fisayo, believe it. Most people who heard that said, actually, that almost all churches in their countries are practicing those things that qualify them to be a cult. So these people admitted that they are going to churches that are actually basically cults. Do you think they stopped?
They won't.
Okay, why not?
It's scary to take the first step. Like she said, leaving the certainty for uncertainty. But when something is wrong, it needs to be fixed. And whenever there's a problem, nobody wants to deal with it. Even though all problems need to be dealt with, and that is how progress is made. The reason why Thomas Edison is a great person is because nobody's going to solve their own problems. They're just going to keep living alongside it until a solution comes along. And then it is because with first of all, problem is a problem. It's an unpleasant thing, and you just kind of want to ignore it instead of facing it head on. Then again, you don't just get rid of a problem by acknowledging it. No, you have to think, and you have to put effort in, and it's hard. And like people said, it's what you've always been doing. It's just automated, and you don't want to change it because it's easy that way, and because there is just many different factors. It's not just easily shaken off. It's not just easily broken off. It takes effort. It takes risks. And nobody wants to take risk. Everybody wants to keep everything safe and familiar and comfortable.
You know, it's still somehow difficult for me, Fisayo, that you know, now you have the evidence that you are involved with something really negative, bad, evil. It's a cult.
Yes. Because...
And you are not able to take a decision.
It's difficult for you because you are in a level that you don't live anymore for this earth, for this world. You see beyond.
That's for me.
Yes. So
what about normal people?
No, they don't see beyond that. That's why to preserve self and to survive kicks in. And just to be certain that I will preserve myself and my family is a must and is priority. Even though I will go with the falsehood.
Yeah, people don't see beyond. I mean, you could say this situation, you could duplicate it in many ways. For example, you said that these people, they know that they're involved with something dangerous and that they should cut relations with it as soon as possible. But I say that, they're just used to it. And for example, say you were living somewhere and you had your normal life. And then one day somebody came and told you that, hey, there's a big problem with the meat industry here. So whenever you eat meat, you're actually eating all these germs. And eventually it will lead to something really, really bad in your body. And there's lots of things right now that we eat and that are popular, but that are actually poison to us. But still, it's tasty. You can't see what's inside your body. So you're just gonna keep eating it because you know this is what I grew up with and all of that, and it's fine. But then when you actually get sick, that's when it's while you still have your burger and your cola and your chicken, yeah, I have diabetes. Well, you know it tastes good right now, so yeah, we're just used to it, and we don't want to go through the temporary pain in order to treat the virus, to get to the root. We just rather like take a painkiller once or something, or just ignore the disease in general.
Well, another point that I'm making here in my teaching that I wanted to make, and I will just say it, and you tell me if you confirm this or not, is that change itself is stressful. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's just a human reaction.
That change, the process of change by itself, on its own, is a stressful process. Maybe people just don't want to go through the stress.
Yeah, that's another thing, because it will mean to crumble and crash what I have built on a wrong foundation and start all over. So that will cause pain and stress. And people don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
Even though in the end what they think is secured is falsehood and it's not truly secured. But they will keep it so far. It's what I have now and I'll hold on to it. So I don't want to go through the stress of starting all over again, because that would just cause me pain and stress. And it's in the human nature that
to avoid stress.
And naturally, yes.
Yeah.
How to avoid pain and stress, because we love comfort.
Yeah.
Everybody tends towards, or most people tend towards comfort zone, and that is why majority are in the level of biomass.
Nobody likes to take risks, not even any risks. I mean, like, just look at what happens when you go out to eat, for example. There's always the thing. Either you eat something completely new and maybe it will taste horrible, or you just eat what you usually eat and you get pleasure without having to think about it. I mean, that's not...
Is that why people prefer McDonald's?
Yeah. I mean, that's not even something like life-changing or something that you have to go through so much stress over. But still, it's a habit. I mean, of course, there's some people that are always ready to try something new. But then when it comes to something societal, when the whole society is doing something, when your whole life you've been doing something, when it's something that is so inculcated in something, going the new way, that's just, you know, something terrible might happen. Or rather, consequences do await, and you know it would be so much easier to just keep going in the same way you've been going. That would be comfortable, that would be not painful, and even if it does lead to pain eventually, well, right now I can't feel that pain, so they feel like they're smart, but really they're just
okay. Another thing I wanted to say, why people fear the truth, is that truth demands for you to re-examine your life or your lifestyle.
Yes. And people are afraid to look in the mirror and self-analyze themselves. That's the truth. That's why most people don't want to be alone.
Okay, tell me about that.
That's why we look for association, we look for a group, we want to belong to this society, this club, this unit, this acceptance and self... it's like it boosts people's ego, so you don't want to be alone. So
but being alone is one of the greatest blessings you could do.
Most people actually run away, and that's why people are feeding on social media today. People are running away from facing themselves, so they look for escape route to share with people. That's why social media like Instagram, where it's a world virtual, it's unreal world, but people live there. Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and a lot of these hangout groups. People don't want to be alone, because when you're alone, yourself is revealed to you, and most people don't want that. Yeah. So they look for escape route to run away from themselves and just stay with.
Because that's what truth makes you do, because to look in the mirror. Yeah,
look into the mirror and self-examine yourself.
Yes, people have weaknesses and they don't want to deal with them. They'd rather just go and have somebody they just want to get validation from other people so that they can feel like they don't really have that many weaknesses, or that they can live without dealing with their weaknesses. And the truth is that every single person has to deal with their weaknesses. If they want to fulfill the purpose that God created them for, but still it's really hard. I can even see myself in that. Hearing the truth for me, like sometimes you'll just like hear voices in your head just because of your pride, or just because something in you knows that because of this truth you'll have to change. You don't want to. It's just hard. Humans just have really low pain tolerance. In summary, that's just the whole thing. There's an eventual result, but while we don't have it, and while we have the pain instead, that's just really, really hard for us.
But there is nothing you can do against the truth, only for the truth.
But we're still running away.
You can never win.
Still, we've run away from the truth once, and we think we are safe.
Yes, it's
we think we're safe from the pain.
Until the pain of running away
kicks in,
becomes more.
Becomes eternal pain.
Become more than the pain of facing it. Then you have to face it.
Yes. But people would rather wait till that end time.
Then time is wasted. Yes. Life is wasted. And a lot of losses have been suffered. Okay, there is another thought that I wrote down here. Truth always demands that you modify your views and your belief system.
Right.
Could that be another reason why people fear?
Yes.
Hearing and receiving, accepting the truth?
Every person is the center of his own world. Think that everything that they know and everything that they agree with is everything that is known and everything that is right. And then when you discover information that completely changes everything you know, that's not okay.
Especially for those in place of authority. All these years you've been declaring what you've been calling the ultimate truth and nothing but the truth. And when another information came that is supposed to supersede what you've been declaring to your followers, seems not to be consistent with what you've been saying, naturally they'll be threatened and they will just not want that.
Even Christians are like that, and Christians can even be worse with that because they can think that, okay, first of all, I have things I believe. Second of all, I know God. So that means everything that I think is from God. And everything I think is true and right. And that is so wrong, and because God has created such a diverse world, and we'll never, not even talking about God, we'll never know the whole world. We'll never know everything that God has created, and much less understand God. But still, we just think that we know everything. And since we can only hear our own thoughts, we can only feel our own feelings, we get caught up in our own feelings and our own chasing our own senses, and then having to modify what we think is number one, what we've been following all this time. That's as if we're not, because we put ourselves on our pedestal. We think we're really something. We're nothing before God. Actually, we're nothing. I mean, not that we're nothing, but actually there's 7 other billion people, and they're all deserving of the same respect as we are. But we're not open to that because we care about each other so much. Ourselves so much.
Now, let me refer back to some scriptures before we go, because people fear the truth, and that's why they reject the truth. But what does the Bible tell us about fear? Any other fear apart from God's fear is illegitimate. The only fear that is legitimate is God's fear. So the Bible says in Proverbs 29 verse 25. Proverbs 29 verse 25. Proverbs 29:25 says, the fear of man brings captivity, bondage, and snare. The fear of man brings a snare. That is captivity, bondage. So whenever you are afraid of men or men's system or what men could do to you or against you, you will be in bondage. Because control, that brings control. So, when people know the truth, the only thing to fear really is the truth. And the fear of man is going to put you in bondage. So when you are afraid of what your pastor will say, what the church will say, even though you know the truth, well, you will never be free. But the Bible said that God brought us freedom. And unto freedom he has called us. So if we are called to freedom, you lose that freedom immediately. You begin to fear people, or you are afraid of people's opinion. So it's better to embrace the truth, which will set you free, because the truth sets free eventually. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So the truth will set you free. Why, whatever you are fearing, the fear of men and their opposition and their opinion, will eventually put you in bondage, even though it might look like a temporary relief and a preferred position right now. So the fear of man brings a snare. But whosoever trusts in the Lord, fears in the Lord, is safe. So truth brings safety. And fear of men and men's opinion brings captivity. The fear of God brings safety. So the only legitimate fear to have in life is to fear God. Any other fear is counterproductive. In Hebrews chapter 2 verse 15, this is one of the very same reasons that Jesus went to the cross. He went to the cross to deliver us from such fears. Because it says in Hebrews 2:15, and release those, he went to the cross to die, to release those who through fear of death were all their lives subject to bondage. Fear, bondage. Fear is equal to bondage. Fear of man and fear of death, they put you in bondage. So Jesus went to the cross to break that fear by making us to rely on him and to fear only God. Not fear death, not fear people, but fear God and love the truth. Job confirms that statement and that idea. Job 28 verse 28. It says, and to man is said, behold, the fear of the Lord is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. So it is the fear of God that is the only legitimate thing to do. The only fear that is legitimate, the only fear that is reasonable is the fear of God. The fear of God is wisdom. But any other fear, is bondage. And the fear of God will, deliver you from evil. While the fear of men will put you into danger of evil. So to be afraid of truth is counterproductive. Because the truth will come to either vindicate you or to condemn you. The truth will come and speak for itself at the end of the day. And you will not be able to withstand the truth. And nothing will be able to defend you against the truth. The truth will win anyway. You will never win against the truth. The truth will always win. So let us love truth rather than fear truth. And let us abide by that truth.